Ariel Helwani has explained how his WWE appearances came together last weekend, also discussing Tony Khan's tweets about him on social media. He's also thrown more shots at the AEW president. We've got all the details on that. Tony Schiavone has commented on CM Punk's appearance at New Japan Pro Wrestling's Battle in the Valley event this past weekend. Of course, Punk attended it as a fan. Tony Khan has also confirmed the return of the Forbidden Door pay-per-view with New Japan Pro Wrestling. Speaking of New Japan, we've got an update on Mercedes Moné's New Japan Pro Wrestling contract. Could more romance storylines be coming to All Elite Wrestling in the future? The Revolution Tag Team Battle Royale is set for this week's edition of Dynamite, but is there a spoiler on the possible match outcome on the show this week? Kenny Omega has spoken about why he wanted to have a trios run in All Elite Wrestling. Kota Ibushi reveals his demands for an AEW deal. Paul White gives an update on his recovery from his knee surgery. Jon Moxley, an update on him in regards to AEW's house show business, and an update on Kyle O'Reilly's recovery from neck surgery. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of All Elite Wrestling. Let's start off, of course, talking about Ariel Helwani, Tony Khan, the drama, the beef, the heat between the two that's been engulfing social media over the past few days. Of course, Ariel Helwani joined WWE in Montreal, Quebec, Canada this past weekend, appearing on SmackDown and during Elimination Chamber, setting off AEW President Tony Khan and leading to a war of words between the two over social media. The issues between Helwani and Khan date back to an interview between the two in October when Khan was non-committal to several questions asked by Helwani. On his show, The MMA Hour, Helwani said when he first saw the tweet by Khan, it was hard to believe it was actually from him. Helwani wondered why Khan would tweet during a WWE show because in doing so, he was putting over his competition on a big weekend for WWE. Helwani also revealed the news caught fire backstage within the WWE locker room when it happened, with people asking him if he saw what Khan had said. Helwani labelled the situation as, quote, bizarre, stating that multiple people he didn't even know had approached him to see his reaction. The tweet spread backstage and it even got in front of WWE commentator Michael Cole, who referenced the beef between the two during the Elimination Chamber broadcast on Saturday. Cole referred to Helwani as a, quote, unbiased, world-renowned sports journalist while he was shown in the crowd with UFC legend George St. Pierre. Quote, Michael Cole, freaking legend that he is, sees me before the show and goes, just wait till you see how I introduce you. I think he's going to say something about combat sports reporter, this and that, whatever. Thanks, man. Do the hit. I'm trying to put over GSP. This all feels like an out-of-body experience. Then go to the back and my phone explodes because of what Michael Cole said. Helwani said this experience in Montreal made him feel like a part of the team, making it clear to anyone who feels disappointed if they didn't like what happened, he doesn't give an F. Dana White and Ariel Helwani have a historically murky past, with the UFC banning Helwani from shows due to his reporting about WWE star Brock Lesnar fighting at UFC 200 in 2016. In continuing his criticism of Tony Khan, Helwani shared why he's comparable to the UFC president. He also made it clear that when BT Sports hired him, he was originally supposed to cover MMA, but White made an issue of that, causing him to transition a lot of his focus towards WWE. Quote, this effing guy doesn't know what journalism is, Helwani said. He's no different than Dana. What I thought about tweeting back to him was, Dana's not going to shag you, mate, because I know he's trying to curry favor with his idol, Dana White. I thought it might have been too much of a deep cut for the wrestling audience, like he's just trying to do that thing, and it hasn't worked for Dana, and it's not going to work for Tony Khan, I can assure you of that, end quote. Helwani said he wouldn't allow Khan to soil my name, drag it through the mud, ruin my night. Helwani, his experience in Montreal was a dream, a bucket list thing, and he didn't want to be ruined by the interaction, knowing that Khan wanted to use the situation to get himself over on me because Lord knows he needs it. To clarify, Khan's original tweet called into question Helwani's validity as a wrestling journalist, something that the BT Sports employee says he's not trying to be, despite people comparing him to the Wrestling Observer's Dave Meltzer. Quote, why do you guys keep comparing me to this guy, Helwani said, because I may be that guy in MMA, I've never been that guy in this sport. Just to be clear, that's it for me. I'm not a new employee, that's it, I'm done, I left, I said thank you, that's it. I have zero regrets, and I loved every second of it. Despite saying he's done in wrestling, Helwani left the door open in the future, even suggesting he could play a similar role with AEW if Khan allowed it. Quote, if they come back and we talk about something else, would I be open to it if it makes sense? I don't think it necessarily me being a character is the right move. I don't know. I would consider anything, but I just want to let you know I'm done. Tony, I am done. If you want to talk about me helping out the product, I'll show up on Dynamite for the right price, Tony. I'll shoot over there too if you want. No problem. Now, as I mentioned, Helwani has taken quite a few pot shots, certainly, during the show, talking about, again, calling into question the success of All Elite Wrestling's Be On Its Own. Of course, called the AEW CEO a snowman as well. Ariel threw a jab at Khan's success with AEW by saying he was only able to launch the company due to the finances of his father, and while his own father is an immigrant, what he's built as an MMA journalist and personality is his own. As I mentioned, as previously spoken about, Ariel Helwani also revealed WWE's backstage reaction to the tweets from both men. He stated that his reply to Tony Khan, quote, pop the boys in the back. Certainly interesting too. He also spoke about, again, how these situations came together, speaking about, again, it was due to the crossover with BT Sports and all that kind of stuff, and also spoke about, again, the backstage reaction, to all of it going on backstage. During Monday's edition of the MMA Hour, he detailed the backstage reaction to his Twitter feud with Tony Khan over the weekend. Speaking on the SmackDown appearance, he mentioned how people were buzzing backstage about Tony Khan's tweet towards him. He was debating if he should even reply. Helwani decided to tweet his reply on the way back home and said he felt bad for Tony Schiavone being mentioned by Khan. He never addressed why he specifically called Khan Snowman, even though that was certainly the part of the tweet that got the most people talking. After a second hit on SmackDown, Helwani was invited back for Elimination Chamber, and I spoke about how the Michael Cole situation was going on. And as I mentioned, he said, quote, I felt like I was part of the team. If I disappointed you by doing this, the WWE appearance, I don't give an F. Although he did stress, certainly, that the appearances were a one-off. Whether that remains to be the case, we'll have to wait and see. Now, of course, over the weekend, former AEW World Champion CM Punk was spotted in the crowd by most people at the New Japan Battle in the Valley event. On Saturday, February 18, New Japan Pro Wrestling held Battle in the Valley in San Jose, California, an event which saw Mercedes Moné compete in her first match in over 9 months to win the IWGP Women's Championship. While Moné winning the title was certainly massive news, former AEW World Champion CM Punk being in attendance also gained some attention across the wrestling world. Punk has not been seen at a wrestling event since his reported backstage altercation with the Elite at AEW All Out. Some people shared their thoughts on Punk being in attendance, including current AEW commentator Tony Schiavone. When Punk's appearance at the event was brought up by Conrad Thompson on the What Happened When podcast, Schiavone said, quote, wow, how about that? When it was brought up by Thompson that other wrestlers attended the event besides Punk, Schiavone stated, quote, I'm so thrilled, I don't know what to say. Punk has shared his public support of Moné for her decision to walk out of WWE alongside Naomi last year, so him attending the event that hosted her return does make sense, unless he was trying to get another New Japan Pro Wrestling star's attention. Kenta poked fun at Punk's appearance, which comes after the newly crowned New Japan Pro Wrestling Never Openweight Champion previously took shots at the straight edge superstar due to his usage of the go to sleep finisher, which of course Kenta made famous. The two have yet to have an official match, and considering that Punk's status with AEW is unknown at the moment, an in-ring showdown happening anytime soon does seem quite unlikely, but I guess you never know what could happen in the future. Speaking of New Japan Pro Wrestling, Forbidden Door was an event that saw a crossover of AEW and New Japan last year. As with anything in the entertainment industry, when you do something that's well received and financially successful, a sequel, of course, is inevitable. So get ready for Forbidden Door 2. In an appearance on the In The Click podcast, AEW owner Tony Khan confirmed as much. Quote, we always build up this big event, AEW and New Japan coming together for Forbidden Door, he stated. I think Forbidden Door 1 was such a big success. We're looking forward to doing it together again. They send a lot of their top stars to AEW and to Ring of Honor, and I love working with them. It's been a great relationship, and there's a lot of trust between the parties. With hardcore wrestling fans pining for a massive cross-promotional event over the years, Khan gave everyone what they wanted last year, building upon the partnership both promotions have continued to foster, with each exchanging talent with one another in recent months, as evidenced by Kenny Omega competing at Wrestle Kingdom and Will Ospreay showing up for a few times times on AEW television last year too. Forbidden Door provided a platform for international dream matches to take place to everybody's benefit, but in terms of making money for both AEW and New Japan, the show drew a gate of over $1 million and registered over $5 million from pay-per-view buys alone. So doing another one is something everyone is interested in for that reason alone. Even with New Japan losing a couple of big free agents recently in Kota Ibushi and Jay White, there are still a lot of untapped matchups for this year's events. Last year, both Bryan Danielson and Kenny Omega were unable to take part due to injuries, so they would potentially be involved this time around. Plus, of course, if AEW can settle things with CM Punk, who was also on the shelf last year when Forbidden Door took place, I guess he could be involved this year. Again, that's even if Punk's under contract with AEW by then. Speaking of New Japan, what's the situation with Mercedes Moné's contract with the company? Well, Mercedes Moné has provided an update on her contract status following her New Japan Pro Wrestling debut. After almost 8 months away from the ring and a WWE departure, the former Sasha Banks made an appearance at Wrestle Kingdom 17 to confront IWGP Women's Champion Kairi. Moné returned to the ring at the February 18 New Japan Battle in the Valley event, where she defeated Kairi to become the second ever IWGP Women's Champion. Speaking with Alex McCarthy ahead of her title victory, Moné revealed that she is still a free agent and hasn't signed an exclusive deal with New Japan or Stardom. Discussing her status, Moné said, quote, "I'm free as a bird. I've got the choice to decide anything that I want to do, especially tomorrow when I win the IWGP Women's Championship. I plan to take that title all over the world, not just New Japan. It's about to be a global championship, so wherever that championship ends up, whether it be on United States TV, Japanese TV, Mexico TV, Germany TV, anywhere all over the world is wherever I choose to make it happen. So whoever has the best bag, whoever writes the best check for Mercedes Moné, that's where I might end up." So certainly interesting that she says she is a free agent. And speaking of her first opponent, well, of course, Mercedes ended up victorious in her bout over the weekend. Numerous names have been speculated as future challengers for the bout, with Mercedes herself naming several stars that she would like to face. At the Stardom press conference, we seemingly got confirmation on who is next in line for Mercedes. Stardom's current high-speed champion AZM addressed the IWGP Women's Championship at the conference, where she challenged Mercedes after the new champion had mentioned her name in an interview last week. She said, which was translated from a Reddit user, the IWGP has been replaced by Moné, right? I'm well aware that Mercedes Moné mentioned my name. The next challenger is me, Moné. I'm waiting for your reply. AZM is a member of Queen's Quest stable in Stardom, led by former World Stardom champion Utami Hayashita, also featuring current Wonder of Stardom champion Seiya Kitamani, Lady C, Biyu Amasaki, and Hina. The group was founded in late 2016 by Io Shirai, of course now known as Io Sky in WWE. But she's also revealed, Mercedes Moné, that she's also planning to open up a new wrestling school. She noted that she's traveling the world to gain experience, partly to improve her own game, but also because she hopes to open her own wrestling school one day. Quote, "Wrestling is such a universal language. When you're in there, you don't have to say anything. You've just got to flow. When I was in Mexico, I just flowed with the luchadors. When I was in Japan, I just had to flow with them, even though I couldn't exactly understand what they were saying. I love learning every single style that I possibly can be because I want to be the best in every area when it comes to Japanese wrestling, European, Mexico. I want to be the absolute best. I'm a student of the game. I've been traveling the world training with the best trainers and best wrestlers from all different generations, so I'm ready. I'm excited. This is for my own growth in the future as well, because one day I want to have my own wrestling school. So to be able to have all of these different techniques and styles is something I want to be able to give my students one day, so I can teach them how to be the greatest of all time as well. And certainly that's her plan for the future. Could we see more romance angles for AEW in the future? Well, AEW EVP Kenny Omega has spoken with Swerve Strickland about the possibility of more romance on AEW TV. Speaking on the Swerve City podcast, Strickland pointed to some real-life couples who are presented as on-screen pairings, including Kip Sabian and Penelope Ford, and Sammy Guevara and Tay Mello. Interested in the challenge of a romantic storyline, Strickland said, quote, "It's just finding the timing, the placement, the movements, the characters, emotion. Which emotion are we pulling? I think that's our next task, and I would challenge our AEW management to try and tap into something that's very left field for our audience. I challenge it. I'll take on the challenge. I don't give a damn." Using Guevara and Mello as an example of a wrestling couple which can generate heat, Omega argued that it's easy to boo romance in wrestling, also wanting AEW to attempt to book an iconic romantic wrestling storyline, Omega said, quote, maybe that wasn't ever necessarily meant to be a feel-good story, but it could have been, hey, they're married, they're together, that's great. Generally speaking, it's much easier to go, oh my God, are you kidding me? This PDA, get out of here. But if we can do those, get to those Randy Savage, Elizabeth moments, oh my goodness. Now, again, whether they can get there, I don't know if that's possible with the AEW audience. Now, this coming Wednesday on Dynamite, we've got the Revolution Tag Team Battle Royale, with one of the teams moving on to Revolution to challenge for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. The match will feature the Lucha Brothers, Top Flight, Los Faction, Igobernable, Best Friends, Dark Order 2.0, Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal, Tony Nese and Ari Daivari, The Butcher and The Blade, and Aussie Open fighting it out to earn a spot in the AEW World Tag Team Championship match at Revolution. Aussie Open's addition to the match made a lot of people interested, as they just recently revealed that they are not under any contract, which had people speculating that they could potentially win the match. However, that no longer appears to be the case, as Aussie Open are set to wrestle on the New Japan Pro Wrestling 51st anniversary show on March 6th. The booking in Japan means they will be unable to be in San Francisco on March 5th, as the show takes place just hours before the New Japan show. Aussie Open will team with Will Ospreay to take on Tama Tonga, Toru Yano, and Satoshi Kojima on the show. The Dream Team of Kazuchika Okada and Hiroshi Tanahashi will take on Bishimon for the IWGP Tag Team Championships on the anniversary show. So it would appear that Aussie Open, it seems they're a bit unlikely that they'd be winning that match. Kenny Omega, as I mentioned, has spoken on Swerve Strickland's podcast, and he's also spoken about why he wanted an AEW Trios return. After Hangman Page defeated him for the AEW World Championship at Full Gear in November 2021, Omega stepped away from the ring to undergo multiple surgeries. He made his wrestling return in August 2022, competing in the AEW Trios title tournament alongside the Young Bucks as the Elite. The Elite won the title at September's All Out pay-per-view, relinquished the gold after they were suspended following Brawl Out, before returning to defeat Death Triangle in a best-of-7 series to reclaim the gold. Speaking on the Swerve City podcast, Omega opened up about his mindset upon his return from injury, noting that he saw a unique opportunity in AEW's Trios division. Quote, the difficult part, and I feel like a lot of performers, especially athletes, will feel, if I do all these surgeries and have to take all this time away, hopefully it's for the better and I can recover to do the best of my ability and come back 100%. I wasn't naive. I felt like I needed to introduce a new layer and be a different version of myself when I come back. That's when I heard about the Trios tag bouts and felt, okay, this is a chance for us to work in a division that can look visibly different than all the other divisions. I don't want it to look like a tag team match with a third guy. I don't want the Elite to be the same old Elite. Things worked out and we were able to get the song by Kansas. I feel we came back with a whole new vibe, and then the Tokyo Dome thing falling into my lap. Now, he's also spoken about getting a bit gun-shy when it comes to, Omega argued that Ospreay is able to perform at his current level because he feels invincible. Discussing his and Ospreay's mindset differences, Omega said, quotes, I was scared about that. You had a guy in Will Ospreay being heralded as one of the best in-ring guys in the world. He is incredible. He's a machine. He can do it all. He's strong, fast, agile. He's smart enough to get by on his tools. Will's intellect, and I love Will. At times, it's helped him more than being a detriment to him. There are thoughts that don't cross his mind. Because they don't cross his mind, he's able to commit to something so crazy that he could end his own career. Now I'm too old and have seen too many terrible things in my life. The hamster wheel is always turning and I get gun shy sometimes. Before it was like I get gun shy when I think about it in preparation phase or in training. Now sometimes I'm in the thick of it, I'm in the match and I know I have to, or I might have to do this thing, and I'm getting scared. I need to get that out of me. That's one of the cruxes of getting old. It's getting old but wiser, but at the same time you kind of get a little soft. I don't want to say it's an intelligence issue with Will. He's still in that phase where he feels invincible. We've all been there. And I kind of do get what he's trying to say there, actually, that when you do get older, you get wiser, but that does make you a bit more gun-shy and sort of trying more crazy things. Speaking of Kenny Omega, of course, one person he's been widely associated with for a lot of his career is Kota Ibushi, and he's discussed what terms he would agree to for a potential AEW deal. Of course, on February 1st, it was announced that the New Japan contract of the former IWGP World Heavyweight Champion Kota Ibushi had expired. Ibushi has since been announced for the GCW The Collective 2023 during WrestleMania weekend in Los Angeles for Bloodsport 9 on March 30 and Joey Janela's Spring Break 7 on March 31st. Speaking to Dark Perusu Flocion, Ibushi revealed what his terms would be for a potential AEW deal. He said, quote, "In the case of a contract with AEW, I would like to sign a contract with AEW that I will participate in for about a week every month until the basic foundation of the dojo is solidified." As previously reported, the former New Japan Pro Wrestling star has also discussed which terms he would want for a potential WWE deal as well. With his free agency, Ibushi is currently establishing a wrestling school in Japan. He has stated he likely wouldn't make a decision about signing with a major promotion until after that has been established. But he does have, I guess, certain demands or requests that could maybe speed things up when it comes to that project. Paul White, another injury update on Paul White. Paul White has recently spoken about his recovery from knee surgery and an almost 3-month period being wheelchair bound. Since his debut in March 2021, White has been a commentator on Dark Elevation, but has also taken part in a select amount of wrestling matches for the company. Speaking to Metro, White discussed his recent knee surgery, saying, quote, "Well, I spent 11 weeks in a wheelchair because I was waiting for them to build the implant for my knee because of my size. I had crushed all the bone in the knee. I was bleeding into my shin, so I've got a good pain tolerance, but when I say I rode the tire down to the rim, that's exactly what I did. But luckily, I still have all my ligaments in that knee. Everything's good there. It's a nice brand new titanium joint, so it's good for 35 years. White would also confirm that he is nearing an in-ring return, having been training with Mike O'Hearn, who has also provided advice on nutrition, revealing, quote, "Billy Gunn's been helping me on the road. Michael helps me with nutrition and workout advice and stuff like that. We've changed a lot of things to adapt to someone my size and my age. There's been incredible results and I'm super happy about it." The former Big Show would also discuss previous attempts to improve his health, reflecting on choices he'd made that caused more issues. Quote, "Right now, I'm about 35 or 40 pounds heavier than I want to be, so I'm weighing around 419 right now. I think at my leanest, I was 370, but at that time too, I had also cannibalized a lot of the muscles just because I was doing so much cardio. I was biking 20-25 miles a day. I wasn't getting, these are things I'm finding out now, I wasn't getting enough protein in at the time. I was trying to eliminate a lot of mass. I went from 480 down to 370. He aims to be ready for March 2023, according to the interview, which also reflects a statement he made in the past. Certainly, again, March 2023, that's next month, so expect Paul White to be resting, I guess, in the next 4 weeks or so. Jon Moxley will be wrestling on the AEW House Rules, AEW House shows that have been coming up. Jon Moxley has reportedly been pulled from his upcoming European booking with Over the Top Wrestling on March 17 and 18. Instead, the former AEW World Champion is set to perform at All Elite Wrestling's first ever house show in Troy, Ohio that same weekend. According to Wrestling Observer Radio, AEW had initially approved Moxley's independent performances during that period. Still, to compensate for the cancellation, the promotion will reportedly send 2 other contracted talents, including Eddie Kingston. The report noted that OTT St. Patrick's Day weekend Scrapomania 7 events were also almost sold out before Moxley's scheduling conflict. It isn't the first time Moxley has been unable to travel across the pond after being booked for an OTT show. In 2020, the promotion had to cancel that year's Scrapomania event due to the COVID-19 pandemic. However, due to the uncertain situation that was unfolding around the globe, Moxley donated $1,000 of his own pocket to the island-based promotion. OTT Scrapomania 7, the promotion's marquee event of the year, will see former WWE talents Trent Seven and Big Damo, formerly known as Killian Dane, perform. Former WWE Intercontinental Champion Santino Marella, now known as Impact Wrestling's Anthony Corelli, is also scheduled to appear. Meanwhile, AEW's inaugural non-televised event on March 18 is set to feature Moxley, Dr. Britt Baker DMD, Darby Allin, current AEW All-Atlantic Champion Orange Cassidy, and reigning Ring of Honor World Champion Claudio Castagnoli. AEW CEO Tony Khan said the company's venture into the house show market is an exciting next step in the company's journey. Finally, speaking of Tony Khan, he's also provided an injury update on Kyle O'Reilly. With a notable few exceptions, AEW has largely overcome the injury woes they were suffering throughout 2022, with stars like Adam Cole returning weeks ago and Christian Cage returning this past week to attack longtime rival Jungle Boy Jack Perry. But one star is still missing, and that is Kyle O'Reilly, who last wrestled in AEW in June of last year. In an appearance on the In the Click podcast, AEW owner Tony Khan was asked about O'Reilly's current injury status. While Khan was unable to provide an exact timetable for O'Reilly's return, he seems to be optimistic about the AEW star getting back to full health. Quote, "He's been doing better," Khan said. "We look forward to getting him back, but it's a number of injuries and a tough recovery. I really miss him and I hope he'll be back with AEW very soon." O'Reilly has missed time due to a variety of injuries, the most notable being a neck injury that required neck fusion surgery back in the middle of 2022. Since then, he has documented his road to recovery on social media, posting videos and photos of himself receiving treatment. He did, however, admit that a post-surgical issue, as well as his type 1 diabetes, had hindered his recovery to some degree. Despite the complications, O'Reilly has continued to stress that he is nowhere near the end of his career and is continuing to work towards an eventual return to the ring. The AEW star was going strong prior to his injury, with singles matches against the likes of Jon Moxley and Samoa Joe. But there you go, guys. It's the latest AEW news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Remember, you can join the WN365 roster by clicking that join button. Let me know your thoughts about today's AEW news stories in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.